Happy Mother's Day, Carol.
Thanks, Jeff.
Today's gospel reading from John seems very appropriate for Mother's Day. Jesus' favorite word in the passage seems to be the word love. By my count, the word appears 9 times in 9 verses.
Yes, Jesus says things like, as God has loved me, so I have loved you. Abide in my love. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. I am giving you these commandments so that you may love one another.
Love is one of those wonderful but ambiguous words, especially in the English language, because we use it to convey all sorts of feelings and relationships. We love our children, we love our dogs and cats, we love classical music, we love daffodils, pizza, and curling.
With so many different definitions of love, maybe when we read of Jesus using the word love, there should be a footnote to explain what he means.
It would probably be a book length footnote, because it seems to me that when Jesus says love, what he does with that word is take us into the reality of God. And there's a lot of history and a lot of stories connected to the word.
In that sense, it's a lot like Mother's Day. Canadian Mother's Day is celebrated on the second Sunday of May, something that we've inherited from our brothers and sisters in the United States. But the idea of Mother's Day is celebrated in many places at different times during the year. Did you know that not only are there a lot of history and stories connected to this day, but there is even some controversy?
Really?
Yes. Let me start with a couple of the stories. Before Mother's Day was created as an official holiday in the United States in 1914, there have been a few possibilities about a day to honor mothers.
I remember reading a book about the history of the peace movement, and I think it said that Mother's Day originally was about promoting peace.
Mhm.
Wasn't there a Mother's Peace Day?
Yes, there was a woman named Julia Ward Howe who worked for an end to slavery and for the right for women to vote. She also worked for peace, and she wanted June the 2nd to be designated as Mother's Peace Day, and she urged all mothers to work for peace.
So she wanted a day to both empower mothers to take action and a day to hold forth a vision of peace in the world.
Yes, and both taking action and creating a world of peace were aspects of the story and the history of another woman, Anna Jarvis, the woman who organized the first unofficial Mother's Day celebration.
What was her story?
Well, Anna Jarvis's mother was an activist, and during the Civil War, she had cared for the soldiers regardless of which side of the conflict they fought for. And she organized what she called a Mother's Friendship Day. It was a day to bring national healing, and she invited the soldiers who'd served in both the Union and the Confederate armies to meet, to get to know each other as human beings, and to start learning how to live with respect for each other.
Well, that sounds like an early version of Truth and Reconciliation Commissions.
Absolutely. And Anna Jarvis's mother also invited the mothers of the soldiers to gather and talk, and to recognize that during the war, they had all been concerned for and sometimes grieving for their sons who had gone into combat.
So she was creating a community of people who shared experiences, a new community based on shared humanity rather than on shared politics or opinions.
Yes. And after her mother died, Anna Jarvis lobbied for a day to honor mothers. And in 1905, 3 years after her mother's death, Anna Jarvis held a public celebration for her mother, in effect, creating the first Mother's Day celebration.
So, where did the controversy come in?
Well, that came after Mother's Day became an official holiday. Anna Jarvis felt that rather than being a day to honor the mother love that creates a better world, the day became commercialized and the focus shifted to businesses making money from the idea.
So the original intent became lost. Guess that's like what we said about Jesus' use of the word love. when we use the word love to just mean that we like something, the word loses the sense of story and history it had when Jesus used it.
Yes, for Jesus, love was a word that described God's relation to creation and to humanity. Love that created everything and said that it was good.
Love that heard the cries of suffering from slaves in Egypt and then sent Moses to lead them into a wilderness and eventually into creating a new community that was to care for all people, especially the most vulnerable in that society, orphans, widows, the poor.
Love that was expressed by Jesus as he welcomed the lame and the blind and the frightened, as he offered free health care to heal and restored people to being welcomed into communities.
When he told his disciples to forgive even those who were their enemies. When he refused to send the hungry away, but said, what food we have, even if only a few loaves of bread, was to be shared with everyone.
And when he saw that Zacchaeus, ostracized by everyone in the village, was a person made in the image of God, a child of God.
Jesus said that he, Jesus, was loved by God. And the love he expressed in life was God's love flowing through him.
And that love created a new way for people to relate. Jesus told his disciples that no longer was he calling them his students, he was calling them his friends. He said that loving others was to befriend them, to treat everyone as a friend, a neighbor, another child of God.
So this Mother's Day, we can remember the stories of mothers who envisioned a world of peace, a world in which people learn to befriend one another despite differences, a world in which we affirm our shared humanity as a gift from God, a world in which we allow God's love to unite us in love.
We love as Jesus loved, as agents of God's love.
Thanks be to God. Amen.
And amen.